The New England Patriots are going to have to make a lot of tough decisions in the 2025-2026 season. Who's going to make the team and who's going to get the boot? And one position group that is going to be the big talk of the town is wide receivers. So let's jump right into it. My name is Aaron. You guys know on the daily Patriots content. Don't miss out. Subscribe, hit the like button. That helps me out as well. Comment below. First question is this. Of all the wide receivers on this roster right now, who do you think first and foremost should get cut? Want to hear from you? Comment below. Now, we know on this team, there's a lot of young potential in this wide receiver room, a lot of untapped potential, you may say. And it's incredibly possible that some of that untapped potential that was drafted last year, let's say Jalen Polk, obviously, and Javon Baker, could obviously get the boot. I would say it would be Javon Baker before Jalen Polk, just because Jalen Polk, higher draft pick. I think they saw more potential in him. But again, there's also been connection with Mike Vrabel and Javon Baker. So we will see moving forward. Then we look at Kayshon Boutte. Does this organization, does this new regime truly like him at wide receiver? Who knows? Maybe they'll move on for him, even though he had a nice rapport with Drake May towards the end of the season. Obviously, his first touchdown pads, all those different things. And then you have Kendrick Bourne, an older statesman of the game, coming in, having been injured, not really having a great last year. A lot of people projected him as potentially being that number one wide receiver. He was not. Again, they could drop him and save some cap space coming. I believe if they drop him after June 1st, I would have to look at it specifically. But we will see what moves happen going forward. And honestly, I've heard people say Mac Hollins isn't safe either. No one is safe. Actually, I take that back. Stephon Diggs, safe. Pop Douglas, my dog, safe. But another guy that I specifically want to talk about today is Efton Chism III. Efton Chism III. Absolute dog out of Eastern Washington. I feel like this podcast, this show, is turning into an FCS college football podcast because this is the second day in a row we have talked about a prospect that the Patriots have picked up who is from the FCS level. Also a Big Sky Conference guy, just like Lan Larison yesterday. Big Sky Conference, one of the better conferences in FCS college football. And if you know Eastern Washington, if you know college football, if you know the NFL, you know that your boy Kendrick Bourne played on that ref turf as well. Who else? Cooper Kupp. So, Efton Chism, listen, I think there's a lot of potential there, and we're going to dive into it right now. First and foremost, he plays the slot. He's a smaller guy, so 5'10", about 200 pounds. Honestly, probably weighs a little less than that. But the things that he does well at, and this was one of the first things that I thought was great, and what's interesting when you look at this combine breakdown is it has a strength, which you're like, okay, this makes a lot of sense. And then the weakness where you're like, but based on his strength, this wouldn't be a weakness. So let me explain. First and foremost, in the slot, a lot of times you're going to catch the ball, let's say on a screen, quick hitch, whatever it might be, mesh concept, shallow cross, whatever it might be in the slot. You get the ball into your slot's hands and you let him do the work. Now, right here it says one of his greatest strengths is makes the first tackler miss on a regular basis. Awesome. Perfect. Let's work with that. Now you look at his weakness and it says 39%, so we're just going to round it up to 40. 40% of his 2024 catches came behind the line of scrimmage. So according to Pro Football Focus. Now, in my opinion, if you are able to make the first tackler miss, and then we even jump into his stats, so he's averaging his senior year, this 2024 year, almost 11 yards a reception. He had 120 receptions, ladies and gentlemen. Listen, he's getting positive yardage on those passes that are behind the line of scrimmage. In my opinion, not a weakness. He's a slot receiver, for goodness sakes. Those are the things you expect. Now, just like yesterday, I'm about to say Lan Larison, so got to get the L's going. Just like yesterday, Lan Larison, I feel like is a shoo-in, is the type of back that Josh McDaniels wants. There we go, tongue twister. I think Efton Chism as well is in that same boat when it comes to receiver. Listen, bring in a no-name receiver, throw him in slot, and Josh McDaniels is going to turn him into a dog. Now, I love Pop Douglas. Pop Douglas is great. But Efton Chism, I think, also has a potential to come in there if he can play more areas than just the slot. But that's the thing that's going to be tough. If he's a shoe-in as a slot, that is his dominant thing. You look at Land Larison, he's very versatile, can do multiple things. You look at Chism, he's kind of right in that spot when it comes to the slot. And then you look at Kyle Williams. A big reason Kyle Williams was drafted where he was at 69th overall was the fact that he can play basically anywhere as a wide receiver, outside slot, the two, whatever it might be. He can play it. He can run routes, and he has that top end speed. So I'm not saying Efton Chism is going to come in and he's going to take over Pop Douglas's job. I don't think Chism has the speed that Pop Douglas does, but I think he's an ultimate competitor, and he shows that through how he plays football. And so I would not be surprised if Chism makes the team, makes this 53-man roster. Now, again, we jump into his stats. So one, what they thought, the combine thought was a weakness for Chism, I think was a strength. The ability to catch a lot of your passes behind the line of scrimmage, but to have a positive yardage, I think is huge. Again, he has a great second step. Huge. Very big for anyone that's going to be in the NFL. Now, another weakness they had was the play. So playing at the FCS level, that was the same with Land Larison. I would disagree with that as well. Again, there's been other people at the FCS level, especially at Eastern Washington that we mentioned earlier, that have been successful, incredibly successful at this level. So again, I don't chalk that up. If we're talking D2, D3, maybe okay, yeah, I get that. Going from D3, which has happened before, to the NFL, that is a huge shift, a massive shift. Or even when you have players that come from rugby to the NFL, it doesn't transition always. And shoot, major college football doesn't transfer well. So I don't necessarily like that argument. It's sure you can make the statement. It was lesser opponents they played against than someone in the SEC, 100%, sure. But I think that he can translate to the NFL. Now, we look again at his stats. 146 targets, had 120 receptions, just over 1,300 yards, almost 11 yards a catch, a reception, and then 13 touchdowns. And you look at his 3 years of production, pretty solid production regardless of the level. His junior year, 85 receptions, almost 1,000 yards. The man can put up numbers. The man can play football. He's a competitor, and I think it was a smart pickup by the New England Patriots. So tell me what you think. Do you think Efton Chism is a solid pickup? And do you think he can make the roster? Now, we looked at this yesterday with Land Larison. We look at the projected, based on NBC Sports Boston, the projected 53-man roster, and it has Chism on that list. Now, when we look at that list, and obviously this isn't set in stone, but the people you see missing is Kayshon Boutte, bring that booty, which I would miss dearly. He's gone. Javon Baker's gone. Okay, I could see that. But again, I am leaning towards, and I know there's a lot of people that, there's big Kayshon Boutte fans there. There's big Kendrick Bourne fans there. I know there's people who've said, you never show Kendrick Bourne any love. Listen, his leadership when he was benched, top notch. I honestly would truly miss that in the wide receiver room, because I think that's pivotal. But if you're not producing on the field, you're not doing anything on the field, and you can pay someone else less, why not? And develop them. Listen, Kendrick Bourne has hit his peak. He's done. So if you have the potential to help someone else develop, why not do that? But again, I do love his leadership. I love his character, so I would miss that. But if I were to have to guess, I would say it's Stephon Diggs, Mac Hollins, Demario Douglas, Kyle Williams, Jalen Polk, Chism, and then Kayshon Boutte. So I think Kendrick Bourne and Javon Baker would be gone. Now, just a projection. It's the end of April. We got a lot of time to talk about it. So tell me what you think. But I do like Chism. I think he could bring a lot to the table, but that doesn't mean he is going to make the team. So we will see moving forward. We'll see what he does in training camp. But tell me your thoughts on Chism, yay or nay. Last up, great comments coming from Austin Hooper. And he admits that it has been a tougher transition with Coach Mike Vrabel. He said it was different at first. I'm not speaking outside the family here. My fault. Battery's dying. There we go. Speaking outside of the family, a very strong personality, a guy who's played before, a guy who's taught me a lot. And at first, it was a tough transition. It was the first time being around a head coach in this style. And he says, please don't take this the wrong way. You should like your boss to demand a lot out of you. I love that. Demand a lot. Listen, what is your job? What is your expectation? To be your best. Why are you getting paid this money? To be your best. Listen, I'm trying to help you guys run through a wall with your 9 to 5, whatever you guys do. Again, if you don't know me, I'm a high school PE teacher. I love what I do. I'm passionate about what I do. I want to make an impact every day. And so when it comes down to it, Mike Vrabel is bringing the best out of his players. That's what he needs to do. And there's different coaching styles of doing it. And I think there's certain people that see the intensity that coaches bring. Like, for instance, I'm a big Michigan State fan. A lot of people think Tom Izzo, he's too tough on the kids. Listen, he's bringing the best out of the kids. Or Nick Saban. A lot of people said that about Nick Saban. Man, he's too tough on the kids. Listen, he's making them into young men that work hard. And I don't see anything wrong with that. And that is what is needed. Again, I think Mike Vrabel coming in, putting his foot down, saying, listen, there's a new sheriff in town, and that sheriff is me, and we're going to do things differently here. And I'm going to demand the best out of you. And if you're not going to bring the best, then guess what? There's the road. You can leave. You don't get to be a part of this team, this rebuild, and making history in this rebuild. So, tell me what you think. I appreciate you guys. Comment below. Chism, whoever, Mike Vrabel. Comment below. I appreciate you guys. We'll talk later. My name's Aaron. If you haven't already, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, merch below. I appreciate you. Peace.